From his origins to his strengths to his weaknesses, there's a lot to get to grips when it comes to Shazam. The longtime Justice League member and sweetheart of the DC Universe finally made it to the big screen a few years ago. He's coming back this year, and in honor of that, here's everything you might want to know about Shazam.
Shazam? What happened to me? What did you do to me? What did you do to my voice?
You have been transformed to your full potential, Billy Batson.
Starting with the fact that Shazam wasn't his first name. When the character was created by Bill Parker and C.C. Beck, they named him Captain Marvel. And here's another fun fact. He wasn't even created at DC Comics. The hero named Captain Marvel first appeared in issues of Whiz Comics, which was a series published by Fawcett Comics in the 40s. Now, Fawcett found a lot of success with the character, which prompted DC to sue them for how Captain Marvel was a ripoff of Superman. Since superhero comics were falling out of vogue, Fawcett settled the suit and agreed to never publish the character again. When the Silver Age kicked off, Fawcett wanted to bring Captain Marvel back, but their agreement with DC stopped them. Instead, DC decided to pay Fawcett for the rights to use Captain Marvel. The problem was, a certain Marvel Comics also had a Captain Marvel in the funny pages. DC decided to avoid any trouble by renaming their Captain Marvel, and that's how he became Shazam. Before we talk about Shazam, I figured you'd want to know how this story ends. Well, Fawcett Comics went kaput in 1953. A moment of silence. DC continued to license the character, though, and didn't fully acquire him until 1994. So you can rest assured that DC is now the one and only home of Shazam. Now, let's dive into the DC universe itself and go over his origin story. And a lot of this stuff hasn't changed since the Fawcett days. Every hero's origin changes as the hero persists through decades in the real world, but Shazam has held on to a lot of stuff. The current accepted origin story was redefined by Jeff Johns in the controversial New 52 era. It's also the one that was used in the first movie, which is certainly convenient. Billy Batson is an orphan living in a group home run by Victor and Rosa Vasquez.
Oh my gosh, Billy!
Oh, slow down.
Welcome home!
His housemates will become heroes too someday, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. When Billy stumbles into an abandoned subway station, he's whisked away to a place called the Rock of Eternity. This is a place that exists outside of the realm we humans live in, and it's the source of the world's magic. There he meets the wizard Shazam, the last survivor of the Council of Wizards.
Billy Batson.
How'd you know my name?
I am the last of the Council of Wizards.
The wizard wants a champion on Earth who will use his powers to do good. Looks like Billy's won the lottery here, folks. Shazam gives Billy the ability to summon all of his powers into himself by merely saying his name. It also turns Billy into an adult, which makes him a lot more interesting than boring old Superman, eh? Just like in the movies, the young hero cuts his teeth by clashing with Dr. Thaddeus Sivana. Though of course, he goes on to have much more threatening villains like The Rock. Now, let's turn to the Marvel family, because Billy's friends are an important part of his story. The upcoming Shazam sequel, Fury of the Gods, is set to release pretty darn soon. It'll introduce the Marvel family to the big screen. But I need to add a quick clarification here. DC isn't allowed to use the M word, remember? So while fans like myself still call them the Marvel family, you're not likely to hear that name in any movie or comic. Now, how about I jump the gun and introduce you to them first? The Marvel family, also called the Shazam family, or if you like wordplay, the Shazamly, is basically made up of Billy's friends. We gave Mary Bromfield, whose other name is Mary Marvel, and not Mary Shazam. I guess DC is allowed this one exception.
Oh my god.
Mary, are you okay? How
do you know my name?
How do I know your name?
There's also Freddie Freeman,
Look, Freddie, I swear, it's me, okay?
Darla Dudley, Pedro Pena, and Eugene Choi.
Wait, are you saying Billy's a human power storm? Yes! You guys figured it out! All on your own. I didn't help. I didn't break any promises. You knew.
You might assume that these kids can turn into superheroes through an association with others from the Council of Wizards. In reality, they're all blessed with the power of the same wizard Shazam. That's the keyword of everyone in the family, which is why they're known as the Shazam family. We've met the kids in the first Shazam film, but it's about time for them to get their own powers now. The child actors from the first movie will be returning, but now they have adults playing their heroic counterparts.
You guys know what this place is, right?
A dark haunted cave with demon statues.
Lair! We got a lair!
Are you ready?
From there, I'll move on to an obvious question. What can Shazam do? The answer to that is pretty easy.
Electricity!
electricity manipulation, hyperspeed, super strength.
If you need a helpful mnemonic to remember it, his very name is an acronym for his abilities. The S in Shazam stands for Solomon and is wisdom. In his hero form, Billy has access to tons of knowledge and becomes super smart. He also happens to know every single language in science, and he has a photographic memory. Next is the H for Hercules and his strength. Shazam is one of the strongest characters in the DC universe. We've seen him move stars and planets and battle Superman to a draw. From there, we have the A for Atlas and his stamina. As you can imagine, Shazam doesn't need to rest or sleep. He's also basically bulletproof and can heal injuries in seconds. The guy doesn't even need air, really, which is great for space adventures. Boy, this is a long acronym. Now, Z represents the big man himself, Zeus, and his power. That's where the lightning bolt on Shazam's chest comes from first off.
Gotcha. Shazam!
It also makes Shazam even stronger and gives him resistance against magic, which is one of Superman's weaknesses. He can also fling lightning bolts and absorb lightning attacks.
Freeman, I'm gonna come over there and beat you.
Getting close to the end here. The second A is for Achilles and his courage. This basically means that Shazam is brave and has a lot of inner strength and willpower. He's immune to the sort of fear or stress that would cause a normal person to have a breakdown, and it also defends him against mind control. And finally, the M is Mercury and his speed. Shazam is basically on the same level of speed as Superman, and depending on the story, the Flash. In space, the guy can actually approach the speed of light in flight. Back in the day, Shazam actually could fly faster than light. It was the only way for him to reach the Rock of Eternity, so that was a lot about Shazam's powers. But it's now time to look at the other side of this coin. What are Shazam's weaknesses? There are two of them, basically. One of them might be a bit surprising, but the power of Zeus can be the heel of Achilles for Shazam. There's an upper limit to his ability to control and manipulate electricity, and being shocked beyond that is a weakness for him. But his biggest weakness, just like his powers, is in his name. If you find yourself face to face with Shazam, you're in real trouble. Only someone like Black Adam can take on a powered-up Shazam. Billy Batson, however, is a much more manageable threat. He can only access his stronger and more capable form if he can say the magic word. A common tactic for Shazam villains is to abduct Billy and shut him up. As long as he can't say Shazam, he's just a little kid.
I invited another friend. I hope that's okay.
And that's all for my super exhaustive overview of Shazam.